A shooting on a busy interstate in broad daylight. An Army veteran shot and injured. He credits his military training with surviving that day.
I mean, I've been to combat twice, so I felt safer over there than I did that day on I-35.
He tells me he now lives in fear for himself and his family as that shooter is not facing any charges. We're taking the time to explain this complicated and intriguing story as the Stand Your Ground law in Kansas plays into the outcome of what happened. Tonight, you'll hear more from the man who was shot, the district attorney who declined to press charges, an independent former U.S. attorney with his own take on what happened, and a lawmaker looking to change the law at the center of this case.
Shoulder, left calf was a graze wound that got a scar, but it didn't go in. This one went in and through and out. And then this one went in, traveled up, and didn't exit.
It's been almost 2 months since Joe Martin was shot while traveling down a busy stretch of I-35 in Olathe near a popular retail and dining area.
There were 10 bullets at least in the truck.
It all started with a trip to get dinner for the family, well before the sun started to set. Martin says it was as he was trying to exit onto I-35 southbound, he had to merge, cutting off another driver in the process. He says as that driver closed in on his bumper, he tapped his brakes a couple times. Then they both merged onto the highway, where Martin says the other driver moved 2 lanes over, dropping back into his blind spot before shots rang out.
I mean, it was a millisecond that I looked back and took a gunshot. I saw the muzzle flash of his weapon.
Initially, Martin, a former Army medic and combat veteran, said he recognized his wounds weren't life-threatening.
So Joe says that's when he grabbed his cell phone and tried to mount it on his dashboard so he could hopefully catch up to the other driver and capture his license plate. That's when he says he reached over to his glove box where he claims he kept his firearm just in case that other driver circled back. However, unable to catch up to him on the open road, he then headed for home for help.
He gets out of his truck and it's just blood everywhere. So my daughter sees that and she immediately freaks out. She's hysterical.
Joe's wife, Sarah, recalls their teenage son grabbing towels to help stop the bleeding and calling 911. Paramedics took Martin to the hospital where he was treated for his injuries. Joe credits his military training for his awareness that day, including giving police an accurate description of the shooter. As we previously reported, an arrest was made in the case, something that initially left Joe and his wife thrilled. Then, confusion set in when the Martins say Olathe police called them to tell them that man wouldn't face any charges.
Yes, he was released. Yes, the DA does not want to press charges. The shooter said that he saw me with a pistol or whatever.
It's a key detail Joe vehemently disputes. But Johnson County District Attorney Steve Howe notes there was a firearm in the car, and the shooter's claim that he saw a gun and feared for his safety is enough to protect him under the Kansas Stand Your Ground law.
You have a right to protect yourself, protect your family, or, whether it's in your house or in your car or even on the street. If a person displays a gun, you don't have to wait until the person points and pulls the trigger in order to defend yourself.
Howe explains in Kansas there are actually 11 statutes that spell out citizens' rights to defend themselves. And in a situation like this, where one party says they saw a gun and the other claims they didn't have one, the burden falls to the prosecutor to prove a claim of self-defense is not legitimate, something that can be difficult without video evidence or eyewitness testimony.
If we can't meet the burden, then the self-defense immunity law kicks into place and we're not permitted to file charges or go forward with a criminal case.
It's a decision that's left the family beyond frustrated.
I thought trial meant try. We try to find justice.
And he isn't alone in this belief. We brought the case to former U.S. Attorney and law professor Steve McAllister.
I mean, my impression is that perhaps at least some Kansas prosecutors have used the law, or at least read the law, to see any claim, basically, of self-defense is justified by stand your ground. I don't think that's really what the law was supposed to do.
McAllister says even if Martin had shown a gun, shooting someone 10 times when you had the option to retreat could be interpreted as an unnecessary response.
For a prosecutor just to say there's no charge because I don't know if I can prove it. Well, I think you got to give the jury more credit than that to sort out what is reasonable.
But Howe says it's not that simple.
You know, the U.S. Supreme Court has talked about this, and what they have said is that hindsight's 20/20. It's whether it's reasonable at the time that these actions occurred in a split second.
The very fact that different attorneys can disagree on the interpretation of the law is one of the reasons Kansas Representative Joella Hoy says the statutes need to be rewritten to still preserve a person's right to defend themselves while also giving prosecutors more leeway to file charges.
Clearly, these laws have empowered vigilantes and empowered people to feel emboldened to pull the trigger, even when there was a safer and better option.
She and some of her colleagues have introduced a bill to amend the Stand Your Ground law, citing a couple of similar cases where that law prevented charges from being filed.
People are, it seems to me, getting away with serious crimes in our state, and so it is up to us to take a look at those statutes and say, here's how they've been interpreted. Now, do we need to make some tweaks here?
As for how, he's not convinced the law needs to change, noting that most of the time it protects Kansans and their families. However, the Martins remain hopeful not only that lawmakers will change this law, but also that Howe will reconsider filing charges.
It's just not right. It's not right.
Now, we didn't name the shooter, not only because he wasn't charged, but also because when we requested the case file, we were only given what's called a face sheet that doesn't name him. When we filed an open records request, we were denied because Howe told us they reserve the right to protect that information in case they change their minds and decide to file charges in the future. That's certainly a possibility the Martin family is hoping for, and they are asking for your help. They want anyone who might have been on I-35 near 119th Street in Olathe on September 19th around 6:30 p.m. to contact Olathe police if they saw the altercation or possibly got any cell phone video of that shooting. They're hoping some undiscovered video or witness testimony could be the difference in their case.